Taylor Swift has spent years turning heartbreak into mythology. That helped make her one of the biggest stars in the world. Millions of people do not just listen to her songs, they treat them like emotional evidence. But when you step back from the music and look at her actual relationship history, a less romantic pattern starts to appear. The relationships are intense, visible, emotionally loaded, and again, they do not last. At some point, that stops looking like bad luck and starts looking like structure.
Would you say that you fall in love easily or out of love easily?
Yeah, both.
Both?
Yeah, I'm really young, so that's kind of a trademark characteristic of my age group.
The harder question is not whether Taylor Swift wants love. It is whether the life she built can actually hold on to it. That is why the marriage question matters. Not because celebrity engagements are unusual, but because marriage is where fantasy runs into reality. Marriage is not headlines, reaction shots, or chemistry. It is routine, repetition, two people still choosing each other after the adrenaline wears off. Taylor Swift has built almost the opposite kind of life. Her world runs on motion, reinvention, emotional escalation, and nonstop public attention. That makes romance feel huge. It does not make it easy to keep. And once you go relationship by relationship, the pattern gets harder to ignore. Start with Joe Jonas. That relationship was short, but the length almost misses the point. What mattered was that one of Taylor's earliest public romances turned into a public breakup narrative almost instantly. That was the first warning sign. In Taylor Swift's life, relationships were never going to end quietly. They were going to become events. They were going to be discussed, decoded, and folded into her image. What should have been a normal young heartbreak became something bigger than the relationship itself. That is where the machine first showed up. And once the machine shows up, every future relationship becomes more expensive. Taylor Lautner came next, and on the surface, it looked sweeter and softer. But it revealed a quieter problem that kept coming back. The relationship fit a moment, and when the moment passed, so did the relationship. That sounds harmless until you realize what it means. Her emotional life was already being dragged behind the speed of her career. The schedule was not slowing down, so the relationship could breathe. The relationship was expected to keep up. That is not how stable things are built. Then came John Mayer, and this is where the pattern stopped looking youthful and started looking risky. Because now the relationship was not just public, it was charged. Age gap, power imbalance, different levels of emotional leverage. Whether every outside interpretation was fair is not even the main issue. What matters is what that relationship turned her dating life into. It became an evidence file. People were no longer just asking who Taylor was with. They were asking what her choices revealed about her judgment.
Can somebody ask you out?
Yeah, I mean, they can.
What kind of men she trusted, and why her relationships kept carrying this kind of imbalance. Once that happens, every relationship gets heavier. She is no longer just dating. She is being evaluated through her dating. Then Jake Gyllenhaal made the pattern worse, because this was not just another breakup. This was the first relationship that seemed to carry the emotional weight of almost serious enough, almost permanent enough, almost safe enough, and almost can do more damage than chaos, because chaos is obvious. Chaos tells you to run, almost tells you to wait, almost keeps hope alive, just long enough to do real damage. It makes a person fall in love with what the relationship could become instead of what it actually is. And once that happens, the damage does not stay in one chapter. It follows the next relationship and the one after that. Because the person is no longer just asking, do I love this person? They're asking, is this another almost?
I just was really upset and sad, and everybody could tell. It was really not fun to be around me that day.
By the time Harry Styles entered the picture, Taylor's love life had become something even more unstable. a collision between two giant public brands. At that point, the relationship was no longer just about two people figuring each other out. It was surrounded by cameras, fan theories, constant scrutiny, and a level of interpretation that would suffocate most normal couples in a week. Fame does not just watch. At a certain point, it starts interfering. Every appearance becomes a signal. Every photo becomes a clue. Every disagreement gets inflated into mythology. The relationship is not just being lived, it is being rewritten in real time by strangers. Connor Kennedy exposed a different version of the same trap. Taylor was not just dating a man, she was dating a symbol, a legacy, a family story much bigger than the relationship itself. That matters because one of the recurring dangers in Taylor's love life is that the relationships rarely get to stay personal. They become loaded, they become theater, and once a relationship becomes theater, the audience stops asking whether it is healthy. It starts asking whether it is interesting. Then came Calvin Harris, and this is one of the most important relationships in the timeline because it should have worked better than it did. Two adults, two major careers, less obvious chaos, more balance, fewer easy excuses. On paper, this looked like the version that should have had a real shot. Instead, it revealed something harsher. The problem was not youth. It was not obvious dysfunction. It was structure. When both people have giant public lives, the pressure does not always arrive as scandal. Sometimes it arrives as logistics. Scheduling becomes stress. Public image becomes friction. Career ambition becomes the third person in the room. That is a brutal lesson because it means love can be real and still lose anyway. Tom Hiddleston pushed the public perception problem even further. That relationship became visible so fast and so loudly that it almost skipped the normal phase entirely. It was photographed, mocked, memed, and turned into a punchline before it ever had room to become believable. That creates a trap celebrity couples almost never escape. They have to perform normalcy to calm the noise, but the more they perform it, the faker it looks. At that point, the relationship is no longer fighting internal issues. It is fighting atmosphere, and atmosphere can kill something before the couple even understands what they are trying to protect. Then Joe Alwyn changed the strategy. Less visibility, less noise, more privacy. And for a while, that looked like the answer. It lasted longer, it looked calmer. It seemed like Taylor had finally found a way to remove the audience from the room, but that only solved the visible problem. It did not solve the deeper one, because Taylor Swift's life kept getting bigger. That relationship ran into something more serious than chaos. It ran into incompatibility with scale. Her career kept expanding. Her ambition kept accelerating. Her life kept demanding reinvention, movement, and more intensity. A quiet relationship can feel safe and still fail because it no longer fits the life around it. That is why Joe Alwyn matters so much in this story. He proved that even when Taylor reduces the spotlight, that still may not be enough. The problem is not only visibility, it is velocity. It was not a failure of chaos, it was a failure of fit. And that may reveal something uncomfortable about Taylor herself. She does seem drawn to intensity before stability. Intensity feels meaningful. It feels cinematic. It feels like proof that the relationship matters. But intensity is not the same thing as durability. Some relationships burn brightly because they are deep. Others burn brightly because they are unstable. And if your life already runs at emotional overdrive, calm can start to feel unsatisfying even when calm is exactly what would save you. Then came Maddie Healy, and the backlash was immediate. The relationship was brief, but the reaction around it was not. That matters because it proves the point again. Taylor's relationships do not happen in normal conditions. They happen inside an emotional stadium, and inside that stadium, the crowd is never neutral. It cheers, it boos, it judges, it projects. One week, the audience wants romance. The next week, it wants accountability. That means the relationship is not just trying to survive private tensions. It is trying to survive a public mood swing with millions of participants.
My life is really busy and really complicated, and it becomes kind of too chaotic when I involve someone else in it. And that's just something I've observed over time.
Now enter Travis Kelce, and this is where the story gets more serious. Because for the first time in a long time, this relationship does not just look exciting. It looks structurally different. Travis does not come from the private actor lane or the quiet, mysterious world. He comes from the NFL. Pressure is normal to him. Cameras are normal to him. Public identity, travel, performance, scrutiny, and spectacle are already part of his life. That does not guarantee emotional compatibility, but it does remove one of the biggest problems in Taylor's relationship history, the man being destabilized by the scale of her world. That is what makes Travis different. He does not look intimidated by the machine around her. He does not look eager to hide from it. And maybe most important of all, he does not seem to resent her for how big it is. A lot of Taylor's past relationships looked like men trying to endure her reality. Travis looks more like someone built to operate inside one. That is the hopeful version. The darker version is that this relationship may now carry more pressure than any of the others, because this is not just another boyfriend. This is the first relationship in years that appears structurally compatible with the actual size of her life. If even this fails, the conclusion gets uglier. It suggests the problem is not youth, privacy, visibility, timing, or even necessarily the men. It suggests the problem may be the life itself, a life built at such scale that love keeps turning into a stress test. And that brings you straight to marriage. Marriage is where all the excuses disappear. Marriage is not chemistry with better lighting. It is routine, repetition, boredom, ordinary life. It is two people staying emotionally steady when nothing dramatic is happening. That is exactly where the danger lives for Taylor Swift. Her life is not built around ordinary. It is built around motion, scale, reinvention, emotional peaks, and public obsession. Most couples fight about errands, calendars, and groceries. Taylor's version of domestic stress probably involves time zones, security teams, public sightings, and a private dinner becoming a global headline before dessert. That sounds funny until you realize it is the problem. Her life is not human scale, it is operational scale. And that means the real pattern here is not just failed relationships, it is failed conditions. The conditions themselves are hostile to calm, routine, and permanence, not because love is impossible, but because stability is much harder to maintain when the world around you keeps rewarding disruption. So will Travis last? Maybe. More than maybe, honestly. This is one of the few relationships in Taylor's adult life that actually looks built for survival. Not fairy tale survival, real survival. The kind built on a partner who can function under pressure, exist in public without unraveling, and does not need her to become smaller in order to feel secure. That is a real difference, but built for survival is not the same as built for permanence. And that distinction matters more than any engagement rumor ever will. Because the kind of marriage that would actually work for Taylor Swift probably looks quieter than people imagine. Smaller, more controlled, more protected. Not because the relationship is weak, but because exposure would weaken it. If this becomes content, it will corrode. If it becomes performance, it will start rotting from the inside. If it becomes another public era for millions of people to rank, consume, and obsess over, then the same pattern starts again with better branding. That is the consequence hanging over all of this. The hard part is not getting married. The hard part is staying married in a world that punishes ordinary love for not being entertaining enough. Taylor Swift can generate a global emotional event just by showing up somewhere, But marriage is built out of quieter materials than that. Patience, privacy, repetition, unremarkable Tuesdays. The internet does not know how to protect those things. It knows how to consume them. That is why this story matters. Not because Taylor Swift cannot find love, not because she is doomed, but because the scale of her life keeps turning love into a test, and every failed test raises the stakes for the next one. So yes, Travis may be different. He may be the first partner in years who looks less like he is surviving her world and more like he is built to handle it. But if this relationship is going to become something permanent, it will have to survive the same machine that reshaped the others. The same audience, the same expectations, the same hunger for proof. And if it works, it will not be because the spotlight approved. It will be because, for once, something ordinary managed to survive inside a life that was never built to stay still.